In another cowardly move, attorney Scott R. Stark, that R is important, is now saying that he's withdrawing from the thumbnail case here in Levy County.
What?
Yeah.
Another lawyer quitting on LIEnette and Crook?
And you gotta wonder, LIEnette and Crook have enough on these lawyers. When are they gonna turn on Stark and DEUCE? It's shocking, I know. We're supposed to be in court on April 16th, 2025. LIEnette is suing us. Suing us for thumbnails.
Yes, we call this particular frivolous lawsuit the thumbnail lawsuit because she claims, well, she doesn't really know. Her attorneys don't really know either.
Well, pause right there. Pause right there.
Okay.
Because you just said something she didn't know. We have concrete proof that LIEnette didn't even know that this frivolous lawsuit was
filed when it was filed.
Can you believe this? Can you believe this? So DEUCE, manipulating Scott Stark, is now filing frivolous lawsuits. The thumbnail case.
Making all these promises, empty promises to Stark, and he probably saw it as a money grab.
Oh, there's no doubt. I'm sure DEUCE was going, listen, these two, they're worth millions, and they'll settle, and they won't go to court. They're worth so much money. Hold a second. Yeah, there will be no settlements whatsoever.
And Jeremy's been saying no settlements out of court from day one. Now, DEUCE may be used to settling out of court, but not with this guy.
Hold a second. I'm pretty sure DEUCE is accustomed to running to other countries.
He does have a history of fleeing the country when other sanctions and disciplinaries
sanctions are coming and everything along those lines.
Yes.
So what's really happening is this is a sanction hearing. Actually, let's get into the history of this in the first place, okay? So George, you create, it's no secret, you create vast majority, 99.9% of the thumbnails for What the Hales. Okay.
So the thumbnails are the pictures that you see on every video on the YouTube platform.
Okay.
Every content creator uses a thumbnail, which is the picture that you see for each video. Yeah,
and so the pictures that we use of LIEnette and Crook are publicly available. So they could be from, Levy County Sheriff videos, public information.
Yes.
Oh, could be from Fish and Wildlife videos, public information.
Yes.
Could be from her contacting the local news station, public information.
Yep.
Could be from her contacting the newspapers, public information.
Correct.
Could be publicly posted by her
on third-party platforms such as Facebook or Instagram.
Oh!
But most importantly, pictures taken from our personal cell phones while she's in public. For example, Town Hall.
Yes. Oh, plenty from Town Hall. Now,
and during her deposition, where she was unhinged and just completely showing her rainbow.
That I completely and totally paid for, thousands of dollars. I own those images. I own that video. So to sue me, to sue George, to sue others is completely and totally ridiculous and frivolous. Now, here's the reality of the situation, though. You've got a cowardly, complete and total coward of a esquire.
The escuela.
Yes, escuela DEUCE Foreskin out in, let's see, is it Connecticut? No. He's got major issues right now with his legal practice in Connecticut. Is it Massachusetts? Wait.
It's the state that I can't pronounce.
Maybe it's the country of Armenia. It could be that. And yet the reality is in a motion that was just filed in a response in the federal court that DEUCE claims outright states to the magistrate that he learned about us from YouTube.
In a federal filing, throwing himself under the bus. Was it a whoopsies? He slipped a couple times in his
That would be called ambulance chasing.
Yes,
absolutely.
You cannot solicit clients.
Okay,
your
so that's
clients
illegal.
have to find you.
All right,
and clearly he solicited them from a different state,
across the country,
miles away. and found them on YouTube.
And then went, I think I could get some money from Jeremy, from George, from Larry, from Tat, from Megan, from Doug, and the list goes on and on. Oh, and the other thing he wanted, fame. He wanted fame.
He wanted to build his portfolio.
And he's got it. He's not famous. He's infamous now as the most cowardly, most disgusting, most frivolous lawyer on the internet. Oh, I bet those daughters are proud. Bet they're really proud right now.
Well, what about
dear old dad?
What about his family in general?
Well, that's for another video in regards to submitting a resignation for a job, then making a police report days after a hearing that he did not show up for in Pensacola. But we were there. We were there because we have all the receipts, all the proof, all the timeline, all the screenshots. All right, so DEUCE comes in on the scene and sells lies.
Yeah, kind of like all the other YouTube channels that he emailed.
Yes.
Numerous YouTube channels promising them views, subscribers if they covered this story from his point of view.
Except that puts him in a particular situation because he's made all these promises and has yet to deliver. And now he's made promises to a Scott, what's his middle initial? R.S.? Even DEUCE isn't sure because DEUCE filed using the wrong middle initial of Scott Stark. Using
another whoopsie.
Scott Stark as a puppet to file all of these frivolous lawsuits. You realize that's completely and totally illegal. I'm pretty sure Scott Stark knows his middle initial. As a matter of fact, when Scott files something, he uses the right middle initial. We have more than enough evidence that DEUCE is filing using Scott's name, which means DEUCE is involved in illegal criminal activity. Scott is involved in illegal and criminal activity as well. And so DEUCE cannot practice in the state of Florida. He's only licensed in the bar, Connecticut, and from what it looks like, that ain't going to be very long. Massachusetts, and from what it looks like, that ain't going to be very long. And probably one of the questions is, well, then how can DEUCE represent LIEnette and Crook in the federal case then if he's not actually licensed to practice in the state of Florida? You want to explain that one?
What you do is you pay a fee and then you submit for pro hoc vice, and then the judge has to approve it or deny it, which is what he did, which is how he was able to become the representing attorney for this particular case. No other case, just one case.
But you have to tell the truth on your application.
Yes.
And one of the things that's on the application, are you in good standing with your local bar? And he is not. He completely, totally lied.
He forgot to disclose that he's under disciplinary.
No. He did not forget at all.
He intentionally forgot to disclose.
Yeah, intentionally forgot to disclose that he has some major issues.
That he's under disciplinary review.
Well, he is now under disciplinary review, and it may not be called a disciplinary review in the federal court because it's called a show cause. He had to arrive April 3rd in front of the magistrate on purpose, and he particularly and knowingly and willingly did not show.
Yes, he tried to withdraw as counsel, trying to say that LIEnette and Crook fired him and discharged him. He used the word discharge.
Okay, so this is where we get to Scott Stark. There's a hearing on April 16th. So the thumbnail case is not over, and Scott Stark has now stated...
Wait, hold on. You forgot to mention that LIEnette and Stark voluntarily dismissed the thumbnail case against myself, Jeremy, Larry.
That's true.
DUI guy. He's a lawyer in Connecticut, and then DJ Radis, who's a DJ that makes parody songs about LIEnette and Crook, and whoever else he chooses to make parody videos about.
I won't get to Stark's email yet, but... he is trying to go the exact same path that DEUCE did in the federal court, claiming, I'm withdrawing! I've been fired. I've been let go. Now, he didn't use that word. What was the word that he used in the filing?
Who, Stark or DEUCE?
DEUCE in the federal. What word did he use?
Discharged.
Discharged.
He said he was discharged by the defendants LIEnette and Crook.
Does anybody understand what the word discharge means? That means, let's see. This would be our example of DEUCE.
That would be perjury because
This
according
would be
to
an
her,
example of discharging.
according to her bestie, Marla Huge, Marla said that LIEnette didn't even know she fired him. She didn't fire him.
Well, that's going to create another problem in court for sure.
Yeah, way to misrepresent yourself in the federal court.
So we've got DEUCE trying to allure and manipulate other lawyers so that he can put frivolous filings in and frivolous lawsuits and use their name, all of which is illegal. Now, this was a frivolous lawsuit from the very get-go. And you're probably thinking, well, why wouldn't the judge just throw it out? Well, it went to Judge Grudge. And so Judge Grudge in Levy County can no longer ever sit on or litigate with myself, LIEnette. And so, even as of yesterday, Judge Grudge just recused himself from the Trespass 5 case, where LIEnette is being sued for $55,000 plus damages for a frivolous lawsuit, which is a whole nother lawsuit.
Another frivolous lawsuit that DEUCE wrote and tried to sue the people that helped a retired vet that's 76, 78. He's an older gentleman, for helping the old man remove his camper and vehicle and his properties because he was afraid to go back on that property by himself because per him and per his words, he was afraid she was going to unalive him with her pew-pew.
Interestingly enough, in that frivolous lawsuit, they did not file the lawsuit against that individual, that veteran, claiming that he has no money, therefore we would never be able to get anywhere anyway.
But it was his camper that allegedly was stolen.
Interesting.
From LIEnette.
Now, the question could be asked, well, Jeremy, why would you be suing if there's no money to be gotten? Listen, there is no money to be gotten. We are well aware of that. This is 100% principle-based. We will not stand by while people destroy our reputation, our character, our businesses, our relationship, our lives. It's all principle-based.
The lawsuit would have never occurred had LIEnette just listened to the cease and desist letter, which was issued May of 2023.
And DEUCE wants to keep saying that we somehow are vexatious litigants, that we will file to destroy you monetarily. Now, that's typically what happens in any type of lawsuit. You are destroyed financially. We have over $300,000 into these lawsuits so far between Ohio and Florida. And so the aspect of DEUCE trying to claim in a previous video that we stated, we'll take everything. So there is that aspect. That was 100% said when there was no lawsuit.
This was prior to the federal lawsuit. This is when LIEnette tried to file a lawsuit against him for stalking, which she voluntarily dismissed as well.
Now, let's be very clear. It is not illegal to sue somebody with a goal of financially bankrupting them if they did something illegal. So, not that I've ever claimed that that's my goal. It doesn't matter if that's my goal or not. It doesn't matter if I claim that's my goal. The lawsuit is based on defamation, extortion, and tortious interference with the business. And so DEUCE is now being sued as well. And so DEUCE allures Scott Stark, a struggling attorney who literally has nothing, whose wife claims that they haven't even had a car since 2021.
Tons of health issues, and so he was able to manipulate Stark, in my opinion, because Stark saw this as a quick money grab to help him pay for his medical bills. Which
now Stark is going to be sanctioned because of DEUCE. Now you have to ask the question, if Stark is going to be punished because of DEUCE, how much is Stark willing to give on DEUCE to really seal the deal, as if we don't have enough already? Now that's interesting in itself, because Scott Stark is now involved in two frivolous lawsuits: the thumbnail lawsuit, which we're talking about today, the Trespass 5 lawsuit, which is in the future. And now Scott Stark has filed, let me clarify. He has not filed, but will be filing, as he says.
Yes, there's communication right now.
So this is, to me, due to health issues, I need to withdraw as counsel and seek a postponement of the April 15th hearing. Now, I just want to look at my calendar again, because I have a good friend coming in, Larry Foreman, DUI Guy Plus.
Who's
Buckle
part of
up.
the thumbnail
Yes,
lawsuit.
yes. So
because he had to hire an attorney as well.
So I have an issue here, because what I have on my calendar is 1 o'clock on April 16th. Scott Stark doesn't even know what day he's supposed to be in court.
Well, and to be fair, Scott Stark doesn't even know how many images of his clients was used in the thumbnail lawsuit.
So when they were asked to give evidence, none was given. Correct. None whatsoever.
If you remember during the deposition, I don't know if we've gone over it on our channel or if Megan and Tug covered it, but one of the questions during the deposition to Stark was, well, you claimed that my client used your client's images in their thumbnail on their YouTube channel. Can you tell me how many thumbnails were used with your client's images? He goes, well, I don't know. He goes, well, is it 10, 1,000, 1,000,000? He goes, oh, closer to 10 than 1,000,000. He has no clue. He has no clue, which is very evident that DEUCE is the one behind the lawsuit. During the deposition, Scott even said that DEUCE wrote the lawsuit.
And so much more is going to come out in regards to this. So his message saying, due to health issues, I need to withdraw as counsel. Now, where have we heard withdraw already? We just heard that as DEUCE is illegally trying to withdraw himself from the federal case, claiming that he was discharged. But his clients have no idea that they discharged him. And you can't just withdraw from a federal suit. That's not the way it works. Again, showing that DEUCE is the world's greatest lawyer that I've never had to pay a penny to.
I don't know.
He has screwed everything up.
He has screwed everything up, but at the same time, this has put a great amount of stress and anxiety in our lives, where our lives have been turned upside down because of his clients.
Well, and he's
LIEnette,
going to pay for that, and so are they in the court system.
LIEnette could have put up signs about you if she hated you. She could have called you anything else but a child arpist. Like, how disgusting is that? And then accusing you of arping her 3-year-old at the time. Like, how disgusting is that?
Yeah, it's beyond disgusting. I mean, frankly, if I can be very clear, I think it's disgusting for anybody to use children to gain a financial foothold.
To exploit a child, especially a sick child.
And in court. So a sick child being exploited for fundraising. I mean, we could go GoFundMe after GoFundMe after GoFundMe after GoFundMe. Unsuccessful. And then DEUCE trying to exploit his stepchildren in the federal court, but then up in arms because people are talking about it now when he placed it out there on the platter.
Yeah.
The ridiculousness of it all.
He can't place his family and specific details about his family in a federal filing, which is now public record, and then play the victim when people address it. Because according to him, the child will get over it. Who cares if she lives in squalor? Who cares if LIEnette and Crook yell at her all the time and there's proof on body cam footage and police reports and 911 calls? According to him, he's telling the investigative journalist that LIEnette brought on to cover this story. Who cares? She'll get over it. But according to him, his children, who aren't even...
Oldest 21 that aren't even his kids, but oldest 21 now.
That he adopted, that he allegedly adopted, that they have issues and they need him. So why doesn't that principle apply to his kids, but the child shall get over it?
Can you say hypocrite? Can you say coward? Can you say complete and total fool?
It is unfortunate that his adoptive children, that their father did die in a work accident. If that's true.
We don't even know what's
true. We don't know
true.
if that's true.
We don't even know what's true.
We have caught DEUCE in so many lies and contradictions in his posts, in his filings.
You mean $700 for security during my deposition in Pensacola?
Yes.
And yet there was no security whatsoever. He got
was
out of a
walking
car.
solo.
He got out of a car solo. Nobody with him. If he had security, that security would have been with him into the courtroom, up to the courtroom.
Was he in the
Complete,
elevator with anybody?
Total solo. All alone. Complete, total lie. And you wonder why that nose is so big. My goodness. He'd do something for Pinocchio right there. They'd be in the running for the world record.
So based on what he writes and his filings, there's so many contradictions and lies in them. It's hard to believe whether what he writes is true. If it is true, our hearts go out to those children because it's never easy losing a loved one.
So Stark goes on to say, due to health issues, I need to withdraw as counsel and seek a postponement of the April 15th hearing. It's not even April 15th, it's 16th.
So which one is it? He wants a postponement, an extension.
So he wants a postponement and he wants to withdraw. I need cataract surgery. This is all yelling uppercase. I need cataract surgery and I have complications such as my foot wound from diabetes. Now hold a second. This is already a continuance because Scott already stated before his computer doesn't work, and he's not lying about that.
What lawyer needs to use those words? I'm not lying.
I'm not lying. And then he said he had to have cataract surgery. Now here we are at the postponement, which was agreed upon, and here he is saying he has to postpone again. Now, we already have, based on his wife's posting online publicly, that he already had cataract surgery well before he asked for the first continuance. These fools continue to dig deeper holes of lies for themselves, making sure that we have more evidence and more sanctions. And I mean, I just can't fathom being as dumb as these people
So
are.
I'm going to play devil's advocate and I'm going to say, yes, people that have cataract surgery can potentially run into issues and complications where it doesn't take the first time around. I'm going to give him that. With him having the diabetes, I'm going to give him that because I too have health issues and then you don't know what's going to happen from day to day. But he knew this hearing was coming up. Why didn't he try and postpone it weeks before? Why is he waiting a week before?
Not only that,
1 week prior versus weeks or months prior.
we agreed to give him a Zoom link. He doesn't even have to show up in person. We're giving him a Zoom link. I can't see. I can't walk. Okay, sit there and listen and talk. What does he need? He needs his wife to get him on Zoom. He needs to listen and he needs to talk. These are the 2 senses out of the 5 that he needs for this hearing. That's it. And then he goes on to say, I am not kidding.
Why would a lawyer need to use those words? I am not kidding.
Just like before, it was I am not lying. I am not kidding. I really need surgery. And it got pushed back twice. I'm withdrawing, all capitals, oh, and bold. We got to have the bold there too.
Wow, the professionalism in this email.
I have congestive heart failure. Wait, now hold a second. It went from cataracts.
Yes.
Then it went to diabetes in the foot.
Yes.
And now I'm withdrawing. I have congestive heart failure.
Which we knew about because he was going to the gym as part of his cardiac treatment 3 times a week. Remember when he said that?
I am in awe. I am in awe. There's a screenshot from the communication right there. I am just in complete and total awe. How many excuses can these laughing out louders come up with?
Yes, it does make you question, well, if the distance from Clearwater and Levy County was such an issue, why did he agree to be her counsel, to be her lawyer, if it was going to be an issue?
That promise of money, that promise. I want to be very clear. There will be no money for anybody. I will never give a penny, not even a penny to LIEnette, to Crook, to DEUCE, to Stark, to the Walruses, to any of these other fools, to a pile of guano, to any of them. There will be no settlement. There will be no agreement. This will be fullest extent of the law. Fullest extent of the law. None of them will receive anything from me. None of them. And so you've got DEUCE now claiming, I'm scared for my life. I had to hire a bodyguard. All lies. And now you've got Stark claiming cataract, diabetes, I have a congestive heart failure.
So what I'm seeing here is the pattern between the both of them where they're both like, wait, I have to show up in person? because they both want Zoom links.
I'm a lawyer, and I have to be
show up in person.
I have to be in court. Huh? What? You mean Jeremy and George won't just write me a check?
If this isn't comical and clown slurs,
now,
I don't know what is.
It is a serious issue. It is a very serious issue. But the way George and I deal with it is we laugh.
We have to laugh because I can't. I'm allergic to anxiety and depression medication. Yeah. I've gone that route, and nothing helps me deal with the stress and the anxiety than to try and sprinkle some humor into it. And yes, this is very, very serious, and it has taken a toll on our mental health and our financial.
Yeah, for sure. And so they were actually given the opportunity to withdraw this case because in Florida, we have what's called the safe harbor rule. And that was filed, and it said you withdraw this case or you're going to face sanctions and attorney fees and the whole deal. And it was completely and totally ignored. Again, showing that, number one, DEUCE has no clue about Florida law whatsoever, let alone federal law, let alone law at all. Well, we have seen how many times in his past he has been sanctioned, he's been in trouble, he's fled to Armenia, he's fleeing, he's running from the problems that he creates.
There's also an interpretation problem because he says one thing in his federal filings or any of his filings and motions, and then he includes a link of what he thought he heard you saying. It's the complete opposite. Opposite. So the statute that DEUCE found about using his client's image has nothing to do with how we're using his client's image.
At all.
We're not using it for commercial. It's free to watch our videos.
100%
Now,
free.
if we were using her image to sell some type of ad or a t-shirt or mugs or any type of merch, then yes, that statute would apply to us.
So, for example, there is an individual on YouTube who is being sued who uses our image and their paid membership, and you get an emoji of our images. And we have those images, and we have all of that, and he's being sued for that as well. It's a pile of guano. And so that is another lawsuit on top of the defamation. He's also using somebody else's image, a manager of a storage facility, and she is joining us with that lawsuit against him as well, using our images to sell memberships, using our images to actually profit as emojis. And so he's got massive issues coming. As a matter of fact, he was just pulled over yesterday and he was cited yet again for distracted driving. Here's one of the most insane things. His own father is in life in jail for unaliving a cop with a car. You think you would learn something from that, but these fools don't. And they will be held to the fullest extent of the law. So LIEnette, through Stark, was told you've got so many days under the safe harbor rule. They ignored it. Stark ignored it. Now, you could go, well, isn't this a good thing that Stark ignored it? For us, yeah, that's a good thing because Stark wasn't doing anything with it. It was all being funneled straight back to DEUCE. And so LIEnette has no clue, even though she claims she was an incredible lawyer all for herself in Ohio, which she has now been abandoned in Ohio as well. Sean Martin saw the light and went, I ain't getting anywhere near this. Right. He won't communicate with DEUCE anymore.
So another lawyer that DEUCE recruited to be their attorney for the Ohio cases every time they violate the protection orders that we have against them. They meaning LIEnette and Crook.
Yeah. And so he's now gone. She will be her own lawyer again in Ohio, and he will be his own lawyer, meaning LIEnette and Crook. And so we've got numerous lawyers that refuse to communicate with DEUCE, understanding who he is, and what he's attempting to do. And now Stark has found out the hard way. And so they didn't pull back, and now it's cost us tens of thousands of dollars to fight this, and now we're going after the legal fees. We're going after sanctions. So that sanctions means that's a penalty against the lawyer. Now, what DEUCE did was he used another scam, conned Stark into it with a promise of money and promotion and fame, which none is going to happen. And now Stark is going to actually be penalized because of DEUCE. Isn't that interesting? You promise all this stuff, and now you actually are hurting worse than you were before. They haven't even had a car since 2021. The laptop doesn't work. He's got cataract surgery. His foot, he's got congestive heart failure. And things are about to get a whole lot worse. Stark lying in his deposition. All of this is going to come up in this hearing. All of it. They all tie in with DEUCE. All of this is coming into this lawsuit. And now Stark wants to withdraw? Now?
It makes no sense. Why would you withdraw and then ask for an extension? Which one is it?
So this is the most hilarious part of all of this. Their legal genius, as walruses would call them. They're so smart. They're so good. Where in the world does the law state if you withdraw, you're not going to be held accountable for what you did illegally? It
Sounds kind of foolish and dumb to me.
It is beyond foolish. And we already know LIEnette has a complete and total history. You can predict the future. Look at the past occurrences and what has happened, and you will predict the future. LIEnette turns on everyone. LIEnette turns, literally stating that Crook has done inappropriate things with the child, and then stated
the child even came out and verbally said,
told her, and then stated she would not let DCF, whatever it is here, let the Children's Services know because she didn't want the baby taken away.
She was afraid that the child would get taken away.
I think everybody's
How
afraid.
gross is that? Why not file an injunction on him?
Everybody's afraid that the child's still there living in this insanity, living in this filth and squalor and abuse. And it's horrific. It's absolutely horrific.
It is.
So Stark is now asking to withdraw, asking for another continuance, which hopefully Judge Davis sees right through that and goes,
Nope.
denied!
No. He's going to say no because then they're without counsel.
There's no way Stark can get out of legal punishment and sanctions. And there's no way LIEnette can now get out of paying all my attorney fees for this frivolous case. Now, once she has those attorney fees to pay, she already has attorney fees to pay us in Ohio. She's now going to have attorney fees for a civil suit here in Florida, in Levy County. She's being sued for $55,000 for the other frivolous suit for the Trespass 5. She's going to have massive damages to pay out for the federal, as will DEUCE, as will others, and somehow they want to claim they're somehow winning. They're geniuses. Here's the thing. We have all the receipts. We have all the proof. We have all the timeline. We have all the screenshots. They will be punished to the fullest extent of the law. Now, we already know there's no money, except is there? I mean, I think there's a pretty good case to state that LIEnette has been gifted well over $100,000 in this past year.
Combined, yeah.
Now, somebody else is not giving that to her, and they will be held accountable for that as well. We can say Fleesa, the head walrus. Now, there's a whole major issue there, too, with illegal criminal activity going on. The person who claims that I'm not a lawyer, but people think I'm a lawyer because I know so much law. And yet can't even read a simple document.
Well, her and
can't
DEUCE
even
share that together.
comprehend the context of a legal document. Needless to say, major issues here for LIEnette. Major issues for Crook. Major issues for Stark. And probably the most for DEUCE, who could very well already have fled to Armenia again.
And these are supposed to be her PR team and people giving her bad counsel.
Did you see that address for DEUCE where his office is?
Yeah, it's a building.
Yeah. You know what? It's
like a postal carrier building.
It's crazy. It's literally crazy. As a matter of fact, we should just show it right now. This is where he claims his office is. And yet, there is no office. No, there's nothing. No. There it is. Publicly claims that's where his office at. And yet, what? What is that? FedEx? Shipping? Interesting. Well, at least there's some nice little shops next door if you wanted to grab something to bite to eat.
An outdoor mall.
Yeah, you got a little something good going on there. So what's going to ultimately happen? George, what's your prediction in this civil suit in Levy County for the thumbnail case? What's going to happen?
Let's see. I think Judge Davis is going to deny his motion. Well, first of all, he hasn't even filed the motion yet.
There's no motion yet.
There's just communication via email, which is improper. He needs to officially file a motion to say that he is withdrawing. And then he also needs to file a motion stating that he needs an extension.
Which is it?
I think the judge will deny the motion to withdraw as
I do too.
As the attorney, and then potentially give him an extension.
So I do not think Judge Davis is going to look very kindly on any of this. He has already been gracious and given one continuance. And to use the exact same excuse, but now throw in diabetes with his foot and now throw in congestive heart failure, I don't think Judge Davis is going to go with this at all. I think he's seen right through it and what's actually happened, especially since Randy has so thoroughly filed memorandum of law in support of our position on this, in support of the legal fees that will be paid to us. And you go, well, Jeremy, how are you going to get money for them? Well, here's ultimately what I think is going to happen. I don't think we'll ever get money from them. I do believe in the federal case that the federal courts will seize all property, all assets, all everything. And what happens, as I'm been told and educated, is that they will come in, they will seize everything, and then everything goes up for auction. Then those proceeds go to us. Now, there will also be any taxes, but they don't pay taxes. Remember, they're indigent. Anything can be, taxes can be withheld, and that could be for everybody in the diabolical 10.
I thought Lloyd paid her taxes.
Lloyd did pay her property taxes. I'm talking about when you get a tax return that can be garnished and it goes directly to us.
Gotcha.
But if they're not paying, now they're getting all kinds of government assistance as well. Illegally, with all the funds coming in, that's all illegal. That's all illegal.
She did
right
write
now.
in her federal filing that what her and Crook get SSDI each month.
And Crook stated that he had no ownership of property when he was in jail for 40 days. He had no assets whatsoever. Ultimately, what's going to end up happening? I believe that we will have liens on their property. I believe others, such as the Grangers, will have liens on their property. Madam Mayor Ventures, good friends, we love them dearly. And they were crucial. They were heroes in saving a veteran. Heroes, true heroes. And then the federal case will come in as well. There will be nothing left. But I don't care about the money. I don't want the money. I want justice. Nobody has the right to say illegal things, whether offline, online, posting signs, not postings. Nobody has the right to say illegal things, to defame people, to shame people for things that never happened, and to try and destroy their livelihood. As DEUCE so eloquently wrote, I want to destroy Jeremy Hales and his YouTube empire. And yet it seems YouTube has caught on to him as he's running, and he's destroyed himself.